Hey everyone, I just read The Language of Thorns by Leighbardugo, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually really enjoyed it. Of all the series to have a short story collection that I actually like, I was not expecting it to be the Gregory verse. It's a collection of dairy fairy tales. I actually wrote dairy fairy tales, okay, good job brain. It's a collection of dark fairy tales and fables from the world of the Shadowandbone books, riffing on classic stories from our own world like Beauty and the Beast and Hansel and Gretel. The prose? I really liked how these stories were set in the world that the main books had already established, but in a very gentle way. Familiar places like Ravka and Fjorda are mentioned, but in the same way real-world places would be mentioned in real-world fairy tales. They're just background elements, and I thought that aspect of the collection was really well done. I also really liked how all of these stories put a bit of a subversive twist on tales that the reader is probably already familiar with, such as the collection's take on Hansel and Gretel. And I really enjoyed how all of these stories don't shy away from the darker side of fairy tales. There are some horrific moments in this collection that you would not find in the modern Disney take on these kinds of fables, such as a fox begging for his life as he's being skinned alive. Fun. The cons? I don't really see the point of this collection. It's fun, but it doesn't really add anything to the Grishaverse, and in fact you could remove that connection and very little would actually change. It's just completely superfluous. The stories might revolve around a lot of different ideas, but a lot of them feature leading young women who mostly blur together. I liked a lot of them more than Alina Starkov, but there isn't much distinction between most of them. And if I had to pick a least favourite, I'd have to say it was the final story in the collection. It was just a bit too long, and felt like an obvious riff on Disney's Frozen, even though I'm pretty sure it's meant to be The Little Mermaid. I went into this book expecting to hate it, so I was pleasantly surprised at how it turned out. I found there was actually a lot to like about it. That said, I don't really know who I'd recommend it to. It's so tangential to the rest of the Grishaverse that I'd only suggest it to the most diehard fans, but if you're an enjoyer of twisted fairy tales and want something a little more modern, you could probably do worse. And I'm giving The Language of Thorns a B. What should I read next? Comment a suggestion down below. If you liked the review and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and share the video around. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.